back on the XM52 podcast, presented as always by our friends at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. We got a nice shout out by the CBS crew today. So great for them. My name is Jake Louque. I'm joined by all my hitters here for tonight's instant analysis of the Ravens 41-17 schwacking of the Cleveland Browns in their home opener. It's Taylor, it's Brian, it is Communist Spen. Still rooting for the Commanders somehow. I don't know how we let that slip through, but boys, how we doing tonight? Brian, I'll start with you. Big day for you.
Mixed bag, I would say. I don't think you can get too upset about beating a division rival, but there was a lot of, let's call it tomfuckery that has frustrated fans for the last handful of years that obviously Reader had said last week. And I think people were wanting to see a version of a 24-point win that didn't want them pulling their hair out at times, which is not what we got. But at the same time, I was walking home from the game and it dawned on me that there was a chance that this game easily could have been 45-3, which would have been insane given the stat lines. You take away the dumbest touchdown ever given up with Marlon Humphrey just not swatting the ball to the ground, and give back the 4 points that should have been 7 instead of 3 with the D-Hop touchdown, Mark Andrews weird drop thing, what have you. And the game easily could have been 45-3 with Dylan Gabriel coming in and scoring the touchdown he did. So I could see Spencer's trying to do the calculus on that as we speak. But one of the weirder games in terms of score matching stat book. I mean, we got outgained, we got out first downed, we did nothing on the ground. Play calling was questionable the first quarter and a half, but we found our stride. So, it's still a little bit of a nasty tinge of a taste in the mouth that ultimately is wouldn't have been washed away probably with one single win here at all. But it's I'm curious to hear how you guys saw it and how you guys saw it on television as opposed to in the bank.
Yeah, that was Taylor and I watching on TV. Spenny, you were in the house. What are you feeling right now?
Feel good. The Browns threw the kitchen sink at the Ravens, and I thought they did such a good job aggressively slanting and mixing up their fronts to take away the Ravens' run game. I think they teed off really well on key run indicators. They didn't care about Lamar Jackson running the ball. I don't think Lamar Jackson felt healthy in this game. I think that Ed Oliver fucked him up last week. He didn't move well, especially early in that game. And he took a really bad sack. I think he wasn't good in the first quarter. He took a really horrible sack early in that game, too, that put them behind the sticks in their own territory into 2nd and 20. And I don't think he was feeling it. And I think the Browns, like I said, slanted really effectively, used some weak, some odd fronts and some different things and just shot the gaps. And they've got a good unit. They played the Bengals really well and really physically. We talked about that in the preview. And they took the Bengals run game away. I think they're an elite run defense. I think Mason Graham's good. Myles Garrett, I'd say Myles Garrett's not the world's greatest run defender, but he's really obviously physically imposing. And some of the other big boys they did an awesome job. They beat the shit out of Roger Rosengarten. And I was happy to see Lamar didn't play well. I think Todd Monken said, we're not going to run the ball today, so I'm going to stop trying, which I think was a good overall, just get it out of the way, stop messing around with it. We didn't see them call Lamar's number with his legs. So to me, that says probably a little banged up after getting folded like a lawn chair. So considering those things, at the end, I look back on the offensive side of the result and say the wide receivers are a strength for this team. They're big, strong, fat strength. Lamar missed Rashad Bateman on a 3rd and 7 throw behind him when he was wide open. He worked out decently. Tez Walker, Tylan Wallace, Jake threw a graphic up there. They combined for 3 touchdowns in this game. Tez Walker has 3 catches, 3 touchdowns. Awesome, cool, fun. DeAndre Hopkins should have had 2 touchdowns in this game. Zay Flowers had his moments. The wide receivers are the deepest that the Ravens have ever had. This is the deepest wide receiver room in the 30-year history of the Baltimore Ravens. They have 5 guys that they like. And guess what? The 6th guy had a nice punt return and is 5th all-time in the NCAA reception FBS list and probably could come in there and catch some passes based on what we saw in preseason. This is one of the best receiving rooms in the NFL. And I think they were a leader today. I think that the Ravens pass protected well. I think Lamar Jackson turned it on. Some of the throws that he made to Tez Walker, to DeAndre Hopkins, were throws that were not in the bag in 2018. Those were not in Lamar's bag. In 2018, I'll say 2019, probably 2020 either. Quick floaters, 25 yards downfield on go balls those were not confident throws for Lamar Jackson. And I would say that he is so good at football. It is a pleasure to watch. We are blessed as Ravens fans, 4 of us from this area. You know, if you're outside the area and you happen to be a fan too, that's awesome for you too. But, you know, we're kind of de facto, hey, I was born around here. I root for the team from around here. And luckily, I get to watch Lamar Jackson play football. I get to study him. I get to be enthused, entertained, and overwhelmed with what Lamar Jackson is, his statistics, his play, his talk. He was on fucking Sunday Conversation with Caleb Presley, giggling like a madman earlier this morning. That was entertaining. Everything about Lamar Jackson was smart today as well. And I don't think he felt good. I do not think he felt good today at all. Dropped a 40 burger. And I haven't spoken about the defense, but took the run game away, gave up on it, and whipped those boys. That's a good result.
To your point, I think there were some very smart throwaways, and a couple times, although he put himself in the position to take a bad sack, he didn't try to compound it by trying to throw the ball in a situation where he was fucked. So it felt a little bit in the early going, as the two sides were feeling each other out a little bit, that the Ravens were intending to play the type of game of, hey, we're better than them. If we just try to play really mistake free and don't put the ball in danger, we're just going to eke out a win here, over time. And maybe that's exactly what the plan was the whole way. And it just kind of played the way out it was supposed to. But I thought they played a little timid to start. But to your point, Spencer, I thought the Browns were awesome defensively coming in. Even the running backs and pass pro had to play their balls off just to give Lamar a couple seconds to get rid of the ball on plays where he was going to get smoked otherwise.
I was getting, after that first half, some really bad vibes. I was reminded of this exact spot last year at home against Vegas, right? I was kind of feeling like, okay, inferior team. Their defense is kind of standing on its head a little bit. That game had more issues with penalties and self-inflicted mistakes, I think, rather than the Browns just playing straight up bully ball against this rush offense. You had Derrick Henry carrying the ball 11 times for 23 yards. Lamar 2 for 13, Justice Hill 3 for 7. They just could not get anything going. And so I was starting to get worried, are they going to play with their food here? Is Lamar a little banged up? We saw he had the IV patch on his arm, which some people, myself included, noticed. He wound up saying after the game, he gets one before every game. So that's not, he wasn't sick or anything. It just probably, to your point, Spenny, he was taking the hits from Ed Oliver in that Bills front last game. He was probably just a little bit banged up, but to their credit, and why I walk away from this game maybe feeling a little more optimistic too, is it just showed the kind of verisimilitude this offense has where, yeah, you know what, Derrick Henry can't go for a game. You're not going to pop that one open. Okay, well, we're going to go to this other well that we have here with the passing game. And guess what? Awful game for Mark Andrews, Isaiah likely out. And like you said, Spenny, this deep receiving core, you can just turn to them, and Lamar Jackson has every throw in the bag. We saw 2 of them to DeAndre Hopkins, another one to Tez Walker in the corner of the end zone, which was amazing. You had the 4th down touchdown pass. You had the touchdown pass with Tylan Wallace. So, yeah, it just showed me that the Ravens can beat you in a lot of different ways. And I think we saw a little bit of, like you said, the tomfuckery, Brian. They can still beat themselves in certain spots. But against an inferior team like this, it's just not totally going to bite you, and you can walk out with that 41-17 win. So definitely some things to clean up. I was optimistic. Taylor, how are you feeling watching this one with our guy Ross Tucker there on the broadcast?
Yeah, my guy Ross. I last week I said that it would say a lot about them how they came out in the first part of this game in terms of responding from the Buffalo loss. And I would agree that it was sort of uneven in some ways. But that's also a little bit to be expected when you're coming off of that type of throw it all out there week 1 type of, that was truly a 60-minute affair. And when you don't really make the big mistake against a clearly inferior team, it's really kind of hard to lose. And the Ravens never made the big mistake to kind of give the Browns life in any part, especially in the first half when the offense isn't playing as well. And, as I think, Brian, you pointed out, Lamar never, you take the sack, but look, if you're punting there, that's okay. Against the Browns, if you're starting to turn it over, if you're fumbling, whatever, you kind of give them a little bit more life. And when they went to halftime up 10-3, I was like, unless there is something, crazy or strange that starts to happen, which albeit can certainly happen with the Ravens, they weren't going to lose. And they ended up kind of taking total control in the second half. Spenny commented about the wide receivers. Look, the depth is obviously an awesome feature of what they have now. I mean, Zay Flowers was awesome throughout this game, in my opinion, just sort of being Lamar's safety blanket in a world where where obviously Isaiah Likely's not playing and Mark Andrews certainly is, I guess, kind of playing his way into shape to start the season. I thought he was just a guy that sort of constantly gave Lamar an outlet in the first half, and then you sort of ceded way in the second half towards the other guys. But he's been incredibly impressive through 2 games. And you start to have a conversation if he puts together, a 3, 4, 5-year run. Not that it's a high bar to clear, but he's going to become the best receiver in the history of the organization. I mean, he just kind of can do it all at this point, and I think he has become Lamar's safety blanket in a world where the tight ends are not there as much. So he was very impressive for me today. Defense played very well. It's tough to take away a ton of things from an offense in the Browns that has 2 rookie running backs, one that's practiced 1 time in the NFL, doesn't really have crazy weapons on the outside.
Who looked so good? Quinshon Judkins.
He's going to be good. Yeah. This is the time to get him. He will certainly be better as the year goes on. And then a guy in Joe Flacco that's obviously clearly limited in this stage of his career. So, but they shut them down, and that's what you're supposed to do. And you come out of this game just happy that the Ravens, other than the Marlon Humphrey weird interception, how are you not securing the ball? Didn't really do anything dumb to allow the Browns in the game. So ultimately satisfying after kind of an uneven start. And as Spenny said, the Lamar throws were so fun to watch in the second half. And that's how when you sign up for the Lamar Jackson experience, those are the highs, and they're very, very high highs. So ultimately successful on to Detroit, who looked very good today in what will be a really fun Monday night game next week.
Yeah, I guess we can get into maybe some of the frustrations, and I think, I would point to that sequence with Lamar really in what felt like the play that was going to totally uncork this game, where he drops back. I forget the exact down and distance, but drops back very far, runs back up, evades pressure and makes just kind of a fuck it throw, DeAndre down there somewhere. And Hopkins hauls it in on what winds up being the half-yard line. I kind of wanted them to take another look at that. I kind of felt it was a little weird that he was tagged down there.
That robbed me of so much money. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a tough beat, by the way, for you. And again, I feel like you might have gotten hosed there. But they call him down, and I wrote this after the sequence where the Ravens do not run Derrick Henry once from the half-yard line. 4 passes. I think you take a sack, and you have a penalty in there too, if I'm not mistaken. And you walk away with a field goal, or 3 passes, I should say. You walk away with a field goal. And I wrote on X, the Everything app, that it just feels like a lot of the time the Ravens are trying to write these 5-page essays to answer what is effectively a true-false question. Like, you could have just done the Mark Andrews quarterback sneak that you were doing earlier in the game and scored that way. You could have just pounded it in with Derrick Henry and Zaire Mitchell-Payton, who's looking okay in Ricard's absence. And it just feels like that and a couple of other things throughout this game. Brian, you were hinting at it, so I'll let you expound a little bit. It just feels like you said, this could have even been a bigger win than it was, and it just led to some of the frustrations throughout the game that I think you hope will be cleaned up as you face tougher tests in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I think that's well said. That particular scenario didn't even feel like a true-false question. It seemed like your sample question where you're just practicing your bubble at the top of the answer sheet. It was just plunge forward. It's that simple. And I know that we weren't having our way on the ground with things to that point, but I think you just gotta ride it out with your guys there. But yeah, just like Mark Andrews, I don't know if he's really got time to tuck that thing away. But I think the fans were growing more and more irritated that it felt like we saw a replay that was at least strong enough to suggest that we should throw the challenge flag on the fact that he kind of caught that and had 2 feet in. I don't know if the broadcast really covered that or showed replays of that pass that was kind of batted out of his hands. But there's a case to be made that was a touchdown. But if you're asking me to just elaborate a little further, the Marlon Humphrey play is the most head scratching play that there is, just because he's the guy who, quotes this week about lacking maturity on defense. That's a play that is simplistic in terms of requiring a pretty baseline level of football maturity to know, hey, I'm on my way out of bounds. There's no reason for me to try to pick this off and catch this pass. Why am I not just swatting this into the turf and we're taking over on turnover on downs? I struggle to try to cook up a more inconsequential play that displayed everything that's frustrating what we're doing.
And that made it 20 to 10. Like that. That's
it was still in the balance a little bit too at that
Right.
point where it's like, oh, here we go again.
That's and I tweeted something about that. Like, there's the fluke that kills you, like happened to the Bills last week. And obviously, I was being a little dramatic. Like, it's not nearly the same quality of opponent or nearly the same environment. But it's just like, man, like, when is that going to start going their way? You know, I feel like the Ravens haven't had one of those happen for them in a while. And maybe I'm just being Eeyore about that. But listen, it just having that happen 2 weeks in a row, a little bit tough.
Yeah, to say the least. I feel like I'm just hammering them for all the negative things. So I'll at least say this: like, I didn't think that Joe Flacco dropped back and threw a pass without at least having a hand put on him at some point, and many, many times being put on the turf. We made that guy's life hell, which we should. But I think that was a clinic in terms of making a quarterback who's not very mobile, making him uncomfortable. So some serious kudos to the front seven for making that happen today.
Yeah, 2 sacks on the stat sheet, which is funny when you look at that. It's Matabike, who now is 2 through 2 weeks, so hopefully he's on track for a bounce back season in terms of sack statistics. And Tavius Robinson, who gets the punch out late in the game that winds up sealing it with the Roquan scoop and score. But you're right; it felt like they were pretty all over him throughout this game. And he actually did an okay job getting a couple balls out late. I think Mike Green maybe had him wrapped up and he popped one over to his left side. And then you had Owe pretty much get there and he gets held at the very last second. So it could have been a little bit misleading. I'd like to see more sack production, but a lot of quarterback hits on the stat sheet here. I think I'm seeing 9 total as far as the box score. So you're right. They were up in his grill pretty consistently. And I know that had to hurt you deep down somewhere inside.
No, it's fine. He's wearing white today. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm always, if you ever want to talk about anything.
Yeah. I feel like you just want to tee me up for it. Let's save it. We got a little more time.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
T, you got some?
No, I'm just, this is every time we go into these and we're waiting for Brian to go off whatever rant he's going to go to. It's always like, we're just waiting for when
you can just like see like the steam building. Like it's just, yeah.
My favorite to get this out of it. My favorite Joe Flacco part of watching the broadcast was them showing his kids already in the game. Could not have looked less interested in overall and being there, which was so funny. Like, hey, my dad's an NFL quarterback. I have to be here. I'm just here so I don't get fined. And then when they scored the touchdown, they were just sort of the whole family looked just kind of like thought it was funny. Like they're just like, oh, that's so sick. Joe got in the end zone. But yeah, I mean the Browns were so limited offensively. It's so interesting. They end up outgaining the Ravens. It just never felt like that really at any point that they could sustain much of anything, especially in the first half. And then obviously you get into garbage time a little bit there at the end. And defensively, I think we have to bring up, we're 18 minutes in. I've not talked about Roquan Smyth. 15 tackles, I think 3 TFLs. Obviously looked a little bit more like the guy that he has been throughout his Ravens career. There was a ton of online discussion about him last week. Was flying around today and obviously gets rewarded with the touchdown after the Robinson strip sack. So that was great to see it. And defensively, just in general, I think they were just super solid throughout and kind of knew what they had to do against a team that, they went from maybe the most dynamic quarterback in the league outside of Lamar to one of the least dynamic. And they kind of, made him look that way for the majority of the game. So Roquan was very impressive and the defense kind of fell in line behind him, which was nice to see after obviously a ton of conjecture last week about their inability to make plays and make a stop. And Jake, you really touched on it last week about their inability to make splash plays. And they did that in a major way today, which is great to see.
Yeah, Nate Wiggins with the interception, another one that kind of felt like Browns were driving a little bit, and it felt like that sort of broke it open back in the Ravens' favor. And really, he almost actually gets the pick six. Flacco's kind of hunting him down. Another guy winds up hawking him down there at the 5-yard line. But just a huge play. It's great for this defense to go out there. And really what this is it's just kind of a confidence builder, because guess what? It's going to be a lot harder when you face Mahomes in 2 weeks. It's going to be a lot harder if you have to face Josh Allen again. It's going to be a lot harder against Joe Burrow. But you know what? You get yourself out there, and sometimes you just need to build the old confidence back up. And if that's playing against 41-year-old Joe Flacco, whatever it is, who is maybe the least mobile quarterback in the NFL right now and is even in his best days, listen, we saw him throw that picked in Wiggins a time or two. That's one that we've seen him give up. So it's nice to be on the receiving end of that. So thank you to Joe for that. But overall thoughts on the defense, gentle spin.
I thought that they kept everything in front. I think that the Ravens will beat the snot out of any quarterback that isn't a plus mover and can't extend plays. And what we saw today was the Browns don't have good tackles. They simply don't have a good tackle combo. They are bottom 10 in the NFL, to be nice. And because of that, Flacco wanted to get the ball out. Because of that, Flacco wanted to get the ball out. Then you see Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith driving downhill on quick passes and knowing that's going to be what comes out and expecting it. And then you see those big violent hits. Then you see them making those game-changing plays at will. And that is not a luxury when Josh Allen's playing quarterback, when Patrick Mahomes is playing quarterback, when Jalen Hurts is playing quarterback, Lamar Jackson's playing quarterback. You can throw even maybe Burrow in there. Those guys that extend plays make you have to be a little bit more aware of what's going on behind your head and your blind spot and wait an extra moment. So the Jared Goffs of the world, I mean, I'll throw maybe Dak Prescott in there. Like some of those guys, they can just straight up tee off on. So Flacco got the ball out quickly. You mentioned Matabike. Matabike was a force. He's always given the Browns trouble, especially Teller. They line him up on Teller. He's always given Teller trouble. Teller speaks very highly of him too. So I think they'll give the Lions a lot of trouble next week in Baltimore, on the road, outdoors. Goff not able to move super well. New Lions offensive line looking to gel, things like that. But Flacco can also move. Like one of the funniest things I saw, obviously, when you go to the game, I like to come back, watch the TV broadcast a little bit, just throw on the highlights, things like that. Before this, on the Wiggins interception, Flacco was like stride for stride with him for a split second. It was hysterical. Joe's got those long strides. He's not quick, but he's fast. Usually you say a guy's not fast, but he's quick.
That video is getting a lot of play on social media, him trying to keep up with Wiggins, which is funny.
Yeah.
He was trucking there. He was trucking. Marlon also hit him late. What the hell, Marlon?
That wasn't that bad. He pulled
Have
up.
some respect. Have some respect.
No, he pulled up at the last second. The refs were right to pick that flag up.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a nice game in that regard. When you can drive on the football, you can play aggressively. You can go take guys' heads off. Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith. So many plays they made today. I thought Travis Jones played well. Was like I said, I was impressed with Quinshon Judkins, his ability to just he's deceptively fast. He can banana to the sideline on you, get an angle. We saw him take a couple good angles, things like that. But yeah, they I mean, really, I'll even say this last week, they even though there was kind of those two seam balls that Josh Allen hit to the tight ends and a couple plays there, they still have kept everything in front of them. They still have not blown a coverage where there's some guy screaming downfield that the quarterback's like within their progression able to find. So I like that in that regard. I thought the crowd was fun. Crowd definitely helped. Mike Green definitely was hunting a little bit out there and got to play a ton. Kyle Van Noy left with a hamstring injury that he was out for. So not surprised to see him maybe miss a week, but hopefully he's good to go. Guy did the 3-day water fast right before the season. Does not appear to be paying dividends in the hammy department. So Kyle, maybe eat some beef and get back out there. But defensively, again, just calm, cool, collected. They had a lot of high leverage downs, and they didn't make the mistake other than, like we said, Marlon Humphrey. I just feel like through 2 games, there's been 2 4th downs in your own red zone, like low red zone towards the goal line, and you can just drop a Plinko circle into the middle, and it could end up being the low outcome for the offense on either side of incomplete, sack, turnover. And the middle, the jackpot, is the touchdown. And 2 times it has been jackpot in 2 weeks, which is pretty funny. So like you said, Brian, I mean, easily could have walked out of this game not allowing a touchdown. I mean, they scored one in garbage time. That doesn't count other than on the box score of points allowed in a game where it's 41-17. Dylan Gabriel comes in late, starters pulled, all that kind of stuff. So defensively, I liked their ability to drive on the ball. Again, like, we'll see the Ravens against Mahomes week 4, see what lessons you learn. Mahomes was running around today pretty frisky against the Eagles at home. So can you play contain? Maybe, especially without Van Noy, who I thought did a good job in contain at least, and is probably a little more likely to get a hand on Mahomes, I'd say, than Josh Allen. I think he's one step down in that like speed and athleticism category at least. Well, he still obviously is a freak on the run, but just the test comes in 2 weeks. Like, can you play contain, get off the field, not let a quarterback extend plays and find the open guys and put your secondary in a bad spot? And simply, I'll say this, like, TJ Tampa made a play or two, and Jair Alexander wasn't out there getting absolutely obliterated, annihilated, wasted, destroyed. So I would like to see Alexander get some practice reps, come back in a couple games, sharpen his tools a little bit, heal up, and maybe see what he can do. But TJ Tampa, come on down. Like, you can play. You can play in dime packages. Why not? It's not like he was some undrafted random corner. It was a highly touted prospect who kind of fell into the Ravens' lap. So, but liked what I saw in limited snaps there. Yeah, I mean, they kept it calm. They played a lot of higher leverage downs. I mean, this game was late in the third quarter, 20-10, with the Ravens facing a 3rd and 13 at one point, and Lamar Jackson's able to extend, find Zay Flowers, convert a first down, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So defense hung tough, made plays. Really should have had 2 touchdowns. Wiggins got caught, by a freaking shoestring somehow, some way. I don't know what happened to the Wiggins that ran like their Terminator down the sideline in that high school clip. But get caught by an offensive lineman, I think. Nate, what are we doing? Ball carrier vision was a 99.
That turned into Roquan today, who just turned on the Jets in a way that I don't think we've seen maybe ever in his time.
He was so unamused by that touchdown.
Got mad. Yeah, got mad. Everyone criticized his speed and said, "Here's all my speed." Running towards the end zone.
He was so unamused when he scored. He was so unamused. Just walked into the end zone and just was like, okay.
Yeah, I think some of the nicknames potentially connecting into some of the more.
I also meant to do this too. Like, Roquan Smith's fat, I'm fat. Like, fat boys stand up.
Right.
Titties out for Roquan, baby. If
Roquan's
fat, I'm fat. Fat boys can run too.
Get you a nickname connecting you to some of the more popular GLP-1 products. But yeah, no, overall defense, they stood on their head. They did what they had to do today. Special teams, wanted to give a shout out to them too. You mentioned the nice returns, Benny, for LeJohntay Wester. That was 1 for 23. Easily could have busted that one open if he didn't get shoestringed.
Yeah, that's
Tyler Louque, 2 for 2, 5 for 5 on extra points. Jake Hummel, fellow Jake Supremacy, stand up. Yeah, which that's another one that really turned the tide of this game. He gets a game ball from Harbaugh. That was awesome. And Jordan Stout, little shout out to him too. A little more active in this game than he might have expected. He goes out there, bangs 5 punts, 259 net yards, 2 inside the 20, and along with 58. Thought he had probably his best game in a little while, which is nice to see.
Hummel just bull rushing the protector there was awesome. Yeah, just absolutely went through him.
Nothing better than a blocked punt when and we'll get into the commentators when they just don't really realize it's happened until like a split second or two. And that second or two.
Oh, it's blocked.
Yeah. And it, like, my guy, is it Tom McCarthy, little McCarthyism up in the booth there today?
Tom McCarthy, yeah.
Yeah. And our guy Ross, that was, it took him a second or two, but it took me a second.
That is a great point. That always, the punt hasn't gone anywhere. Oh my gosh, it's being recovered by the Ravens.
Absolutely. But Brian, I know you love that a big special teams day. They needed a bounce back.
Yeah.
Penalties for Louque, I will say.
Couple what?
Penalties for Louque. He had the
He is absolutely, and I've got a pretty good view of this near the top of section 528, which is like 5 rows from the top, where the trajectory and the spin on these kicks that he's kicking, he's definitely in his bag, trying out all kinds of different stuff. He's trying knuckleballs. His first kick actually wasn't a penalty, but it landed like on the 20, like right on the line. I was like, ooh, if I'm remembering the rule right, like that was a close one. And then sure enough, the next one, he flew it short. Tried a couple pooches, put one towards the sideline, went out of bounds, not great. But I was at least looking to see more of that from kickers across the league last year. And I don't know if they collectively have just kind of gone to the tape and seeing that the penalty for touchbacks is that much more severe. Like the need to be a little more creative on these kickoffs is forcing kickers to be more creative. But I'm here for it. It's interesting at least. So we'll see how Louque kind of adjusts and hopefully keeps the Hankies off the field moving forward.
I feel like it kind of nullifies the kick out of bounds though, because it's only a 5-yard difference with the touchback being at the 35 and kick out of bounds being at the 40. Like it harkens back to the Bears-Vikings game last week where it's like, why didn't Santos just kick that out of bounds,
Yeah, the counter, I guess, is like it encourages you to be a little more risky on trying to kick that creative pooch down the sideline.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're trying to do. Like that's where he's getting close to the 20 and then getting the penalty, not getting into the safe zone. Like they're trying to keep it on the ground as much as possible and make it difficult to pick up so you can get your coverage unit down there. So I'm starting to like it a little more as somebody who is a little bit anti this stuff, as Spenny could tell you a couple years ago. I'm coming around on it.
Yeah, the one thing too, though, is like when we had our teeth really sunk in after 2 or 3 drives, and I even tweeted like I'm thinking shutty today. The notion of a shutout in today's NFL was already very tough, but with where field position is starting this year, like it's just inevitable that you're going to catch like a pass interference down the field where it gets you into range. And the kickers are so good, as we saw with Aubrey, late in that game too, that teams are going to be able to mix a field goal in and nullify these shutouts. So over under 2.5 shutouts across the league this year, like I think that's a fair line.
Maybe, man. It's so hard. Like, you're right, man. If you're starting at the 35 on touchbacks, like, and the way that it's just, I harp on this a lot, it is set up for offenses to succeed through the air. And it's just hard to hold a team for 4 full quarters where they can't even get a field goal. And kickers, like, I don't know if they're as consistent as they used to be, but it feels like all of them have leg. Like, you've got Brandon Aubrey kicking that 64-yarder to keep the Cowboys in that one, go to overtime. Like, and he's obviously a special example, but there are other guys, like we saw Louque hit the 61-yarder in preseason. Like, guys just have fucking leg now. And like, if you even get into enemy territory, there's a good chance you're going to be able to walk away with 3 points, even if you don't have like one of these top flight kickers. So shutouts, not going to be at a premium, would be my guess.
Yeah. With regards to Stout too, his punts, like I don't know if he's deliberately trying to kick these knuckleballs a little bit short where they're not returnable and he gets the bounce forward or not. He's been the benefactor of that, and if that's a strategy, then more power to him. It's not very returnable. And then on the other side of the coin, I thought the Webster return was not just a good one, but I thought he played it so perfectly with regards to playing it on the second bounce. Didn't put himself in danger for a weird hop. If it, took a weird hop and hit him, like he just played that so perfectly and made something of. I feel like a lot of returners we've had in recent years would have been too afraid to really go make a play with that ball. So credit to him.
Yeah, totally. But overall, just really, really good to see that from the special teams unit. Like I said, after a kind of a rough opening there, and whenever you do have a rough special teams game, it's going to be amplified with Harbaugh being a special teams head coach. So you do see a lot of that. But yeah, overall, just really not a ton to say from a results perspective in this game. I think we got through most of it. Taylor will be rejoining us shortly as he had a situation in the house, I quote. But I did want to get your guys' perspective on the ground there for the Ravens home opener and the celebration of the 30th anniversary of the team moving here, of course, against Cleveland, the city they stole the team from. So a lot of emotions there. A lot of headlines going to this game, not just about the game itself, but Cleveland media and some of the older Cleveland fan base very much still hate the Ravens. So there was a lot going around about it. But how did you guys enjoy the festivities?
It was cool. Jonathan Ogden, Ray Lewis, Ozzie Newsome was the legend of the game. Those three coming out. Ozzie, the first African-American GM, picking those two back-to-back, each of them holding a Lombardi trophy, was out of a movie. Like, that's out of a movie to say that sentence. Like, the first ever black GM, his first two picks were both Hall of Fame, first ballot, basically like unanimous Hall of Famers, more or less, and each able to hoist up a Lombardi was awesome. That was really cool. I thought the end zone looked cool. I thought that being the Browns, who started having their rumblings, I'm sure if we were in our 40s, late 40s, and we were from that little city by the lake up there, we would probably feel some type of way about this, but we're not, and we're from the purple town, and so I don't care for them at all whatsoever. I do find all of the crying that they did to be on, alligator tears, because hey, you were simply just the team that was the home opener. Like, be mad at the NFL, not at the Ravens, and be mad at the Ravens. I really don't care. So that stuff, whatever, was just cool, man. I saw Michael McCrary, said what's up to him. You guys know me. I usually leave everybody alone, but I was like, fuck it. I saw Vontae Leach walking to the bathroom, and he was with maybe the biggest security guard I've ever seen the largest human I've ever seen. He was so much bigger than Vontae Leach, but talked to him for a hot second. He was jacked. He looked good. Gave him a little, why aren't you out there, man? You look good. He's like, oh, I've been working out.
Yeah, you see a retired player. That's just, man, that's the slam dunk every time.
Yeah, so it was just like, I saw somebody else too. There was like 3 like Ravens legends I just happened to see walking around the concourse. So that part of it was cool. I don't know. It was loud. I thought that it was cool. The seats on the field looked kind of cool and looked like they did a little bit more. I don't know if I'll ever sit there, but They looked better than they did last year. I thought that part was nice. And again, I thought that the paint job they did overall was really nice. Had a couple bombers fly over the stadium, all that fun stuff. So Flacco's kids, the fact that it was Joe, all that stuff was cool. And yeah, the crowd seemed enthused and entertained, especially considering it was kind of a grumpy kind of first, second quarter for a little bit. But I don't think it got that grumpy. Like I've seen way grumpier crowds than that. I think people were happy. The weather was beautiful. I think that was a big part of it. The social aspect. It's still summer. Football's here though, so all of that was really nice, and I thought made for an awesome 30th year kickoff for the Ravens. And then obviously they fucking shellacked the Browns in the end. Lamar has 4 touchdowns casually and just bludgeoned them with his arm. So that all was really cool. And I hope that they drop jerseys. We have a comment here too. I want them to drop those jerseys, man. I mean, they would go triple platinum in 5 seconds if they dropped a Lamar Jackson freaking throwback logo jersey. So all that was really cool. Yeah, and it was the Glee Club of the U.S. Naval Academy, I believe, did the anthem. They were really cool too. So all that stuff was fun. Enjoyed.
That's good. Tough situation there at Navy this week earlier. Anyone who's listening that was a part of that or know anyone who went through that, heart goes out to you. Hope you guys, if you were at the game, had a good experience.
Yeah, and to Spencer's point, hey, brand new team store. Great opportunity to drop all kinds of new merch with that. At least the end zone emblems. I know the Flying B is the one that everybody wants, and that's a tough one to get. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of the same recycled stuff that we're used to seeing, which is totally fine. You had your Super Mario, Real Fan Dan, Derrick Henry, Lamar, shenanigans. The one thing that was new that I don't think I've seen before is that Poe now has a serious t-shirt cannon. I'm talking about an automatic cannon. Like, I don't know if you saw that, Spencer, in I think the far corners from where you typically sit. It is an automatic rifle. Like, it is churning like 6 t-shirts a second. Like, it was nuts. I think he fired off like 50 t-shirts a couple times. He'll never get up to where I sit, but cool to watch nonetheless. Yeah, and the 30th anniversary stuff was very cool. One thing I'll say, Edwin Molitalo, if he's backing you in some sort of can throwing Dr. Pepper style competition, you might as well just quit now. It's just a brutal performance by him. Just real embarrassing. And then, yeah, it was a tough scene. I think he got 3 in 30 seconds, maybe even more, 45 seconds.
Isn't that usually like a, hey, we'll pay your student loans, random person out of the crowd? Why are they having Edwin Molitalo do it?
Starting last year, they started to do, instead of the contestants doing the throwing, they have a proxy Ravens legend doing the throwing for them.
I wonder if you can pick your Ravens legend. That's a good point. It's like maybe you do a snake draft, you get your guy that you want. And Edwin Molitalo, yeah, it turns out don't draft him if that's you. Okay, well that's
Spencer
really
Falau was the other one, and I think since he went second, I think he went 4 for his first 4, and it was just over. Like they just stopped the clock, like it's over, walk off.
Yeah, Spenny, you were in the Bud Light fan zone. Bud Light's ultimate tailgater. I got to get all the details on that.
Just chilling, man. It was warm. It was cool under the Bud Light party zone there, and just hung out a bit. Usually there halftime of games, so you can come grab a beer, make your comments about the coordinators, whatever you got to get off your chest there. That's where those conversations are had in the Bud Light tailgate.
Yeah, a lot of high IQ, just burdened with native intelligence crowd.
Oh yeah,
buzzing around.
Is that separate from the touchdown zone?
Yeah, it's just like a bar by my section. This
is for the plebeians, correct? It's not roped off. Okay.
Oh yeah, babe. There's no white collar boys up in there, man. We're hanging out, having Bloody Marys, freaking whatever you got. I mean, if you're getting all fancy, you could get like a Kona Big Wave or something like that.
That just made me thirsty for a Kona Big Wave. Brian, I know. Yeah, I know you got something on your chest here about the way some of the festivities were handled.
You're thirsty for it, and I'll give it to you here. Tweeted about it a little bit. I'm really disappointed at the lack of recognition of Joe Flacco by the stadium experience as a whole. I think it was a cut and dry, very simple first or second TV timeout in the first quarter. You show him on the Jumbotron. He's sitting. He's probably flipping through his binder, looking at photographs of plays or, your Microsoft Surface or whatever the fuck they're fingering these days. And he looks up and sees that the crowd is getting on their feet, and we all give him a rousing standing ovation and say, thank you, Joe, for 11 years of awesome football and a Super Bowl, unforgettable Super Bowl run, and being really the first quarterback in purple and black to really develop and be a guy. And never happened. It just never happened. And I know he's the enemy, and I tend to swing very hard in the direction of, if you're on the other side, fuck you. I think the circumstances here are totally different. I think it, to the point of how I mentioned it should have gone, it is real quick. You get it out of the way, and from there forward, it's like we're playing football, we're focused on that, so on and so forth. Never happened. Even the 30th anniversary video, there's all these clips of, great football plays, especially more from the Super Bowl runs. Sure, yeah, they had the Mile High Miracle. They had, Jacoby catching the one in the Super Bowl as he's falling down. But honestly, the highlights were all the receivers catching the passes and not Flacco throwing the ball. And the way they designed the video, the real stars, like the legends for the Ravens, they all had like a little 20-second period where it was like 3 or 4 highlights by them. And it was like, we're making a point to show Ed Reed during this 20 seconds. And here's the Ray Lewis era. And here's this and that. And it totally called for a Joe Flacco, at least acknowledgement of the run in 2012. Even like highlights of, Torrey Smith in Pittsburgh, it's just him catching the ball. It's not Flacco throwing it. Like, it felt like they went out of their way to erase Joe Flacco from the highlight package. It felt very deliberate. I thought maybe they would do some finale, like as halftime's ending. There's a minute and a half left on the clock. You see up on the scoreboard, here comes Flacco jogging out of the tunnel for the second half. And it's like, hey, here he is. Everybody clap for Joe Flacco. And everybody who's lined up on the end zone line, in some in their Hall of Fame jackets or whatever, everybody gives them a wave, and everyone, hey, Joe Flacco, respect to Joe Flacco. Nothing, not a thing for Joe. I stayed long enough to watch Cooper Rush take the knees and the clock run out, and sure enough, when he's jogging out to greet Harbaugh and Lamar, they show him, but
it was half empty.
Less than 10,000 people left in the stadium at that point. Like, when they start taking the knees with a minute 48 left, like, people are already out the tunnel by the time it hits 0. So I just thought that was undeserving. Like, we can separate church and state here and acknowledge Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I'm with you. As much as I'm kind of prodding you on this, I do think that's kind of a layup, an easy one. I will say, like, it's going to happen. Like, he's going to retire. He'll come back as a legend of the game. 100%. He might go in the Ring of Honor. Like, he'll get his.
Yeah, he'll go in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
no question. And we'll have that, and it's going to be great. But like, we didn't have to treat him like the way that we did today. It's not like we spat in his face, and I mean, we beat him up pretty good. But we can compartmentalize all that. And I'm the guy that, like, I think people get over nostalgic about, like, Nick Markakis with the Orioles, like, and like the Orioles posting when a guy's on the team for a cup of coffee and then they trade him for a bag of donuts. They throw up,
thank you for everything.
Thank you, fucking reliever who gave up 3 home runs in his 5 innings pitch.
Your favorite is
it's nauseating. But this is different. This is Joe Flacco.
The thank you fans when they crash out of the playoffs 2 years in a row. That's always your favorite tweet. I know that.
Yeah. Thanks for your help, Corbin Burns. Like, it's like, all right, 1 year. Like,
my big rant is always when they congratulate the other team on winning the title, who you're like competing for a title every single year. That is the ultimate. But yeah, I obviously was not at this game. I do think that you're right, Brian. I think that it is a layup to show a 45-second tribute, put him on the video board. You don't need to announce him. You just put him up where he's sitting on the sidelines.
Don't say a word. You just show him.
You just show him. I think that is totally within bounds of respecting the fact that you're competing against him. Yeah. And I also would totally hear the argument to be like, hey, as Jake, you said, like, we're going to get to that when he's on the other sideline. We're not going to give him a massive tribute individually. The thing about the compilation, like 30th anniversary video, though, is kind of fascinating. And maybe that's just how it ended up getting edited. And no one thought about the dissection that some, the
Oh,
greats.
I think that's 100% on purpose. I think those things are they're on.
But so in 3 weeks when they play a home, they're going to keep playing these types of videos. Is he going to be more featured when they're not playing against the Browns?
They are, because they do
it felt like it was imbalanced.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's a weird video to change the editing for, based on the fact that the guy's playing against you. Like, it's just a historical document of the franchise. It's not really like, because sometimes like the NBA gets very, very over their skis on tribute videos for opposing players, but they are when they're done in the right way, they are awesome moments. Like the John Wall one that the Wizards did when he returned there. That's like great for Wizards fans.
I watch NBA exclusively through highlights on TikTok, so I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't have to watch the games, Jake. Don't pay for the streaming. You can just watch the highlights. You can just watch the highlights. What a quote. Thank you, Adam Silver. But like, I think that's a moment that the crowd now is conditioned for. So to now not give it to them is interesting. When you texted that, I thought that was very interesting, because crowds are now ready for the tribute video. They are now ready for the tribute video. And I think they're accepting of the tribute video at this point. Like, there's especially when you have someone that has led you to a championship and is, essentially has an 100% approval rating amongst the fan base. But
yeah, and I think the demographic of the PSL owners are, if you look at the overarching fan base of the Ravens in their totality, the PSL owners probably are a little more Flacco guys than the non-PSL owners. So I felt like, I don't know, it felt like people were craving it a little bit.
I think by people you mean Brian
Black. Yeah.
I wasn't asking for much. It's such a simple, just show them and don't say anything. And let everybody clap, and that's it. And we move on.
I do think the Ali concussion put a little bit of a wet towel on it, and also it's just weird that he's still playing, and it's been 7 years and he didn't play here yet.
Yeah,
I think like if it was 3 years ago or 4 years ago, it would have been a little different.
The timing is weird.
It's been a while since Flacco left. It has been literally a Lamar since he left. So that was, and it's the Browns, and it was a little weird. But yeah, I mean,
you had the whole conjecture too during the week that the Browns fans are mad that the Ravens were holding their 30th anniversary against a team where the move
could have been a nice salt on the wound. Just really give Joe, throw the rice in the aisle for Joe,
which that's on the NFL schedule. It's just don't give the Ravens the Browns the first home game.
Yeah, you got to know that like this is going to be the 30th anniversary. So like, yeah, I get that. Take up your complaints with the NFL, Browns fans, and media. I would say.
Yeah, like what do you want the Ravens to do? Hold it back because
interesting. I guess before we get into a little commentator talk, interesting report came out this morning that the Ravens were all set to draft Browns third string quarterback Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. And he passed on the opportunity to come to Baltimore because he wanted to go somewhere he'd get on the field a lot quicker. Winds up getting picked by Cleveland 3 picks later. Spenny, I'm sure you have some thoughts on that.
I get it. Like, I get that. You're in the 5th round. Beggars can't be choosers. But I understand wanting to go somewhere where you could become a starter. Obviously not a great place here. However, I would think Prime loves him some Baltimore.
Yeah.
So I would think if there was a place where he was like, you could go do perfect timing as a backup, I would think Baltimore. However, like Brian said, I don't know, I was talking to somebody, again, maybe it was you, Brian, but are we just forgetting about Cooper Rush here? Like,
Brian
Like all ESPN did like a 3-minute panel, and they said some really dumb stuff. And I thought Alex Smyth actually was the only person who said anything with any sort of level of intelligence there. But nobody said the word Cooper Rush at all. Like, people are just acting like, oh yeah, he's just going to be Joe Flacco, Lamar Jackson's backup. Like, no, like absolutely not.
Are you more upset about the Cooper Rush erasure or the Joe Flacco erasure today? It's a little unclear.
There's some serious erasure going on.
Yeah, a lot of history is being
a huge day for the word erasure in my brain.
Tossed out the window. Yeah. No, it's interesting, man. I'm with you, Spenny. I would have thought Dion would have said, hey, that could be a good spot for you. But I think at a certain point, Dion knows when to pull back and just let his son make his own decisions. And you know what? Like, I get it, man. Like, you're on the clock, and when you're a 5th round pick, you're not making a ton of money to begin with. You want to get as many opportunities as you can to get on the field as quickly as possible. But would have been good. It's the old, I think Ron Wolf move in Green Bay. He would have Favre there, and he'd draft a backup every couple of years in the 4th round. And sometimes they'd trade the guy. They did that with like Connor Cook most recently, I think, or something like that. Or no, that was the Raiders actually. But yeah, I mean that would have been I remember I was telling you guys in the group chat, like I remember being in that 4th, 5th round. I was like, could they maybe potentially do this? So I think it's funny. And that was probably a little bit of pettiness on the part of the Ravens to have somebody reach out to Shefty and leak that before.
Well, Shefty's also absolutely had that for months and was waiting for this Sunday NFL Countdown to drop.
Yeah,
You're just waiting for the day of the game. He's had that probably maybe even since the draft. I mean, and you're just like, why would I report this now? Let me be able to bring this up and say smart. I think it's fascinating that as a 5th round pick, Shorter Sanders was calling his shots with teams. Like, if I'm a team, I'm like, okay, man, we'll see ya. Go somewhere else. Like, that's kind of crazy. At that point, when you're that deep in the draft, kind of throwing your weight around in that way is interesting. But who knows? We'll see if anything comes out from the Shador side of things over the course of this week in the forms of a report that clarifies his side of that situation. I'm sure there will be something, but certainly like an interesting little nugget on the pregame shows there.
Good comment from Sterling here. That would have driven Mel into Tizzy. He would have driven down from Parkville to the facility the next day. And
that would have been awesome. We did lose a great draft broadcast moment. Yeah, Eric DeCosta stays true to his board. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. One could even say Adam Schefter waited until he had perfect timing.
I'm just putting together now. That's what that celebration is. I know he wears the watch, but listen, that's why they didn't draft him. Or I just don't really. I'm not familiar, but I guess maybe we'll find out. I mean, like we said, Flacco looked rough today. Gabriel gets in there. It sounds like Stefanski is sticking with him at least through week 3 here. But man, I got to think those guys, both of them, are going to be getting some run throughout this season. But that's all on that. That's all in this game. Taylor, thoughts on our guys, Tom McCarthy and Ross Tucker?
I mean, look, it's the CBS D or E crew. There was some, it's just okay. It's all just okay. I mean, Tom McCarthy's a very good professional broadcaster, does a nice job. I've never been a massive Ross Tucker guy. I never loved him as a sub on the Dan Patrick show years ago. That was Jake and I were texting about that earlier. That was always a turnoff. He just never really kind of fit with that group. But yeah, I mean, I think maybe someone in our texter or on was when you turn on the McCarthy Tucker broadcast, you kind of know how CBS feels about your game. And that's Jake, that might be in your line. I think that's right on the money. Yeah. When you have guys like that, for me, I'm not going to get totally upset by the telecast. It kind of is what it is. I thought Tucker was certainly trying to create a narrative at the beginning of the game about Lamar's play. I think he kept bringing that up a little. Lamar's struggling, sort of looking for something interesting to talk about, which I don't totally blame him on. It's Ravens Browns. You kind of know how it's going to go going in. But yeah, I thought that was pretty inoffensive, honestly. It was solid. It's fine. And it's just Ross Tucker does have his general delivery. I just don't love, but to each their own. Broadcasting's hard.
Yeah, no, I thought they were solid. They really didn't make any mistakes. Even some big guys like Tirico a couple weeks ago kept getting a quarterback's name wrong. I forget which one it was. But several plays in a row, he was just calling a quarterback the totally wrong name. So it happens, and those guys didn't have any of that. So shout out to my Tom McCarthy heads. The McCarthyism era rolls on.
I think Tom McCarthy's good. Nothing wrong with it. And Tucker's not bad either. That's just a personal taste thing. And this stuff's hard. If you watch college football on a Saturday and you get down deep into a window on a game, you can get some color commentary disasters. And so, in the NFL, they really don't have that across the board. But it was fine. Yeah, it was fine. Broadcast was good. Amanda Balionis, always great to see her. Mm-hmm. After going through the summer with her on the PGA Tour, so she's always very good. Very
per our inside sources.
Very solid. 1 p.m. CBS, and when we get Joe and Troy next week, which is a treat. Those guys are awesome.
It felt good. Sometimes you get these really big games that just get you super juiced up. I mean, the neurons were really firing after that Bills game, biggest game. You got Collinsworth and Mike. That's just a big game voice to carry you deep into a Sunday night. And I just felt fried after that one. So sometimes it's good to just kind of get that D or E team 1 p.m. window against the team that you should beat. And they go out there and they get it done. It just felt like kind of a nice warm blanket on a Sunday that I could use after a tough, kind of exciting, but, not the best ending week 1 for me.
Jake, did you have the situation with the bull riding at the beginning of the game?
I'm not familiar.
So there was some Twitter. So I'm trying to finagle a way to watch this game here in lovely Chicago, and so you got to use some ways to get the broadcast on. And so I'm going through those things, and bull riding is playing over top of the game. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm just like getting regionalized out or something. But then I saw on Twitter people were using, the cousins of Stream East of the world, RIP Stream East, I guess this week. And there'll be 7,000 other ones of them. So I don't know why everyone was going crazy about that. But that I guess maybe it wasn't the Baltimore, maybe it wasn't WJZ, maybe it was WSA in DC, and that was happening there. That like bull riding was playing over top of the Ravens game for the first like drive, maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't just
there you go. There you go. Boom.
I turned the game on like right when it started. I had just gotten back from
yeah, it was. And then it came on after one of the breaks. So I don't know. That must have been something going on with like a local CBS affiliate. So maybe it was the DC affiliate, and it seemed like no one in Baltimore. And it wasn't like a widespread thing. There would have been a massive like freak out if it was WJZ. So I'm imagining maybe it was something different of how the game was regionalized. But fascinating. So glad to hear that happened to somebody else. And then I was able to watch the rest. But very, very bizarre as I'm just like rolling in the PBR or whatever. Off the top of the Ravens game, but glad to hear that did not happen to most.
Yeah, no, I think our guy here is saying that he lost like half the first quarter. So yeah,
that sounds about right. Yep.
Washington specific thing. I did
go.
not. Problem. So there we go. Didn't have to take in any bull riding today. And yeah.
And then if you're any other Chicago area listener, you got the pleasure of watching Lions Bears, which was, oh my Lord. So the Lions certainly got right. I did get to watch some Lions in preparation for Monday. And Mr. Goff was, as you said, Spencer, if he, the Ravens should be able to deal with him, but if he has time to kind of distribute the football, I think he has 3 consecutive years with a 5 touchdown, 0 pick game, which is impressive.
You two Goff slanderers, you two up top.
I love Goff. Elite Goff.
I'm not a Goff slanderer. Spenny hates him.
I would love to see Jared. I'll say it straightforward. I would love to see Jared Goff come win a game while the Ravens wearing all black uniforms on Monday Night Football outdoors. I would love that. I would love to see Jared Goff come.
I don't anticipate that happening, but
I would love to see him come big dog in an outdoor game on the road against a team that never loses in prime time. That is just. I mean, every time they demolish him, they have wiped the floor with him. The last 2 times they played him, what is it, 90 to 13?
Look at Brian all hot in the pants for opposing quarterbacks 2 weeks in a row now. We're just like, we're going to lose this guy.
I started as communist spin, but I think Brian is like a comrade of these opposing quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you two were quick to poo-poo him last week.
81-53 as a starter in the NFL. Jared Goff.
Good.
With a like 1 in 15 season or something.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't he have weren't they?
He had an 0-7. He had an 0-7 record as a starter his first year at the Rams, and then they went 3-10 his first year in Detroit.
There you go.
Jeff Fisher.
3-10-1. 3-10-1.
That was Jeff Fisher's last coaching season. End of a legendary era.
Jeff Fisher was his first coach with the Rams. I did not remember that at all. Got fired mid-season.
God, what a horrendous watch that was.
Yeah.
Off in a Jeff Fisher offense with like no weapons.
Wow, that's actually kind of crazy.
Come a long way.
Yeah, we certainly have. All right, boys. Quick look ahead to next week. Sounds like we got that out of the way. Got the game out of the way. Broadcast out of the way. Bull riding out of the way. Joe Flacco out of the way. Anything else before we close up shop here?
Just Joe Flacco out of the way. I mean, don't put Joe Flacco out of the way.
Yeah,
he's coming back.
Someone called the day of erasure.
He's coming back. He's coming back at some point. He'll come home and
How many more weeks do you think he's got that job?
Like I said, man, Stefanski committed to him for next week. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make it through the full game and they just throw Gabriel out there.
Yeah, especially after a little garbage time warm up to get Gabriel nice and lubricated. That's like the mayo on the sandwich. Just helps it go down.
I thought he was pretty decent for what was being thrown at him.
He was running the offense. Also, a side note: Nate Wiggins touched the football 4 times today. Had 3 pass breakups in that week.
Yeah,
and can we also that is the greatest
on the
thing
way
a DB
out
can do.
on the way out
That
the
is the
tunnel.
greatest. That is the greatest.
I like it.
Good for him, dude. He's just swag to the fucking ceiling.
You
I
got
could
the
never. I could never wear 2 mouthpieces and have that celly and do what he does. I could just never.
Are big mouthpieces kind of back? Zay Flowers' mouthpiece is massive. It feels like big mouthpieces are
Yes.
having a moment.
that's the hot equipment thing of the moment. Like
Yeah.
a couple, like 5 years ago, it was the DBs with like 50 armbands. Like,
Yeah.
but somehow, like
I
not.
would say the mouthpiece thing is probably closer to being on its way out than
I agree.
Yeah,
Like,
Maybe I'm just late to the party there. Which
we're
is
like
good.
right in the middle towards middle of the third quarter on the mouthpieces.
It's
Yeah,
retro post. It's retro nuevo post nuevo.
I wonder what will be next.
Soto Sopa.
Who knows what'll be next? But I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to
I would
watch.
say when I was at the Notre Dame game yesterday, I mean, everyone is seatbelting. I mean, we're just, I mean, the pass could be 17 yards over the receiver, and we are just like, bam,
I
seatbelt.
forgot to ask you, did you see our guys Chris and Jack out there?
Chris and I don't think Chris and Jack were out there. It was Noah Eagle and Todd Blackledge, who's just an excellent pair, by the way. They do Todd Blackledge is an all-time underrated analyst. Noah Eagle is really, really good. I did not see any sign of Chris and Jack in the stadium, but it was an excellent college football game. I mean,
I'll be catching those guys tonight at halftime with my guy Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah,
night.
Flacco,
And speaking of college football, Spenny tweeted that Vandy is the Grim Reaper. Vandy is the most fun team in college football. Diego Pavia just throwing lead blocks. Bring that guy in as Pat Ricard's replacement. Blow him up like 30 pounds. You just play fullback. The guy is awesome. Good start to college football. Tennessee, Georgia was very good.
Yep.
There's some awesome games last night.
Absolutely. All right.
Now I was talking CFB.
That's your CFB minute.
No, CFB corner, Jake.
Yeah,
CFB corner. Then the show.
I'm the casual Bill.
Presented by Jimmy's Famous Seafood. Big win for Bill today, by the way.
Yeah,
They needed to win that game.
That was going to be quite a listen if they did not hang on for that one. I was so excited, and it's probably I think he's still going to be talking himself into some stuff here, but yeah, he needed that breathing room. Okay, well, I think that about does it. Thank you, everyone, for hanging with us here in the live chat. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to us here on our YouTube page. Subscribe where you get your audio if that's how you choose to listen. Like the videos, comment on the videos. Find us on social media at Exit52 Podcast on X, Instagram, and Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Jake Louque. That's LOUQUE. Brian at Barstool Banks. Taylor at Taylor Smyth 10. Spenny at Ravens 4 Dummies. That is the number 4. And Eric is at EDITTI 22. Appreciate y'all hanging with us here for this one, and we will see you again very, very soon.
See ya.